Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to UD Awakened. We have something very special today. We have a friend. I promised you guys I had friends. And it is, did you say your name is Delia Winters?
No. Bedelia Harris was my character name.
Okay, that all works. So we're gonna refer to you as Jess or Delia, whichever one you prefer.
I think Bedelia is a fun name. I don't know any Bedelias, so I'll be Bedelia today.
Well, there's Amelia Bedelia.
Yeah, well, that's her middle name, I think. And I know it says Jess in the corner, but today I will be Bedelia. Or B. That's my character nickname is B, so I can be B.
B? I don't know why, it sounds very cool somehow. Like Aunt B before she was Aunt. She was cool B. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, that works. That works. So, okay, just let everyone who's watching this one day in future now land, understands we're going to play a little game. This is created by an INFJ who was bored. And we're going to have, I think, are you an INF type or are you an ENF type? Do you know, according to the Myers or the Briggs?
I believe I was classified as an INF.
I think you are an INF as well. I don't think you're an INFJ, but I think you are an INF. So two differing INF types. And maybe one day we'll team up and we'll do that video figuring out according to specifically 16 personalities, because they're the most popular one right now, what greatness they believe you possess. So we're gonna go on, well, not us, you're gonna go on a series of pretend dates, and then at the end of it, you're gonna learn something special about yourself. And I'm gonna share a screen now so you get to see, I mean, you can imagine whoever you want, but I thought that you might like it if maybe this was the person that you were seeing. I'm gonna share screen. So you can maybe, maybe that was the guy.
Oh.
Just like random people. It's totally up to you. It's so funny because that search did not go well. It's just like
that shirt just started with a nice, like shirtless pic, little abs right in my face, and then started going like military look, which is a thing I'm into. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that I am married to a military man, and yes, I like the look. So
I put in hot guy's uniform originally, and the weird thing happened where a lot of them were not in enough of the uniform for my comfort level. Like,
remind me to send you a picture later.
Like if I search that, which I do not search often, I just assume that they're all gonna have on. I'm just gonna assume they all have on clothes, and instead they just like so like I expected more of like that, and instead it degenerates pretty quickly. Like, look, they're already not wearing, those are way too tight. What? Why do you need to go to war in that? That doesn't even make sense. Okay, anyway. So I waffled, being the INFJ that I am, I waffled between two different scenarios. The first scenario was you guys were gonna go and go to a, what do you call it? Place of dancing with the young people, the disco.
A club.
A club. Originally it was going to be a club dance.
If it's a disco, then we're kind of getting into older people territory. So if you want it to be young people, it's going to be a club. If you want it to be older people, it's going to be a disco. So up to you.
Step one, you show up at the club wearing dungarees. Okay. But no, instead it becomes a dinner date because those I've done. So, okay, on the way, he texts you, can't wait to see you. 2, he's waiting for you at the door and he says, wow, you're even more beautiful than I remembered. 3, as you get to the table, this is so goofy. As you get to the table, you see a place card and it says Prince. And he says, no, this is for you. And he steers you to the next chair and it says Queen. So after that, okay, so 30 minutes after he drops you off at your house, because he's pretty traditional, he texts you, I'm sorry if I came off too cheesy tonight. I just wanted to impress you and make you feel as special as you make me feel. So that's date number 1. All these are going to be way over the top, FYI.
Okay, I was going to say, it was like for a first date, like, yeah, it's
they
cheesy.
Are first dates.
It's cheesy in a very predictable way, which is nice, except that everything I know now makes me just a little bit like cynical and pessimistic. Like, it's too good to be true, and he's definitely just trying to get in my pants. And I don't know. Let me know after this assessment if this is what you do or do not want on this video / on the channel.
I want anything you want to say. There's literally no wrong answer, but if you can turn up your volume on your microphone a little bit, that would be cool, because I just can't hear you very well.
I don't
turn
know.
up mine too.
I don't know if I can.
If you go to the search bar near like your Windows icon on the bottom left, and you just type in microphone volume, then it will come up with master volume, and you can click it and you can choose to just toggle up, so long as you have a Windows, as I'm assuming you do.
Hold on while I go through my settings.
Can
you hear me any better now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So my initial thought is at least kudos to him for not making it princess, because I was definitely expecting it to be prince and princess. Like, hooray for him for making it queen, praise. But also, I get the distinct impression that he would be a lot of work in bed, like that. That he's the guy that would be like, I'm at your command, like, you tell me exactly what you want. And so you'd have to do all the work of telling him what to do instead of him just taking the initiative. Like, that's the impression I get, which already sounds a little bit exhausting, but I appreciate the cheesiness. I appreciate bringing a little of the old school style, but it's, you know,
meh.
Let's see who else gets creative. It's good. I'm not super excited about it.
You've just changed the connotation of excited. Okay, from a scale of 1 to 5, where does he land? Is he a 1? Is he a 5? Definitely not a 5, but is he a 1?
No, he's not a 1, because at least he's putting in some effort, and he, you know, the puppy dog thing is cute, but I don't know, I'd put it like a 2.5, a 3, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
It's fine. It would probably get a second date, but
okay, so again, these are first dates. Yes, I should have mentioned that at the beginning, that you figured it out. Okay, so scenario 2. So I had numbered each line before, because I got off on these like tangents and started like writing some really goofy romance novel. I don't know what I did. Anyways, so, and it's getting late. I know you have to call your real prince soon. So I'm gonna try and like, okay. You get to the restaurant. He's waiting at the door, and he says, you look great. I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to walk in with you. I didn't want you to have to walk in and find the table on your own. I got a reservation. And so you sit down, and he says, I ordered your favorite drink, so it's already coming over. So we have time to just hang out. And he says, smiling at you, it's on its way. You guys make small talk. And as you're scanning the menu, he hands you a menu and he says, oh, check this out. I actually chose this restaurant because I think you might really like some of the dishes they have, but I thought it might be fun for you to discover something new. So while you're eating, he asks you about the last movie you saw. And he suggests, hey, wait a second. What did I do? He goes, oh, hey, you know what? Why don't, after we're done the movie here, like here at the restaurant, why don't we go out and like see the next installment? I'm into that series too. So you guys end up going to that second movie, which, okay, suspend belief. You go to that movie afterwards and you guys end up sitting and talking, and you have so much to talk about, ironically, that you actually end up going to different like cafes, and you hang out talking and laughing the rest of the night. And the next morning, he's like, I wish I could have gotten to hear more about some of your goals. I know that sounds really sort of cheesy and overkill, but you're just really kind of interesting, and I kind of wish that the night wasn't over, but since it is, do you want me to drive you home, or are you good? Do you ask him to drop you off at home, or do you decide to call a cab?
Okay. Do I ask him to drive me home or call a cab? I don't know, because is it going to imply something if I ask him to drive me home? If I call a cab, am I being too distant? This is why I love that I'm married, and I know the guy I'm with loves me and I love him, and I don't have to figure out the nuances of
anything
studying language anymore. Like, we just, we have a language and we understand it so much easier. Oh,
you don't have that here. Either way, the scenario ends here, so just choose one of those. Doesn't matter.
I'll say I'll take a cab home. He didn't pick me up, so I'll go home on my own too.
Okay, so he gives you like a quick hug, like he's kind of shy, and he waves and you guys leave. I mean, you leave, he doesn't leave with you. What do you rate him?
How would I rate him? It sounds like it's not a bad date, and I want to rate it higher than a 3, but I may stick around a 3, only because it's sweet of him to start off with, I ordered your favorite drink. Like, it's nice. There's the initiative. But if you're gonna then continue on into, I picked this place because I think there's things you like, but maybe you want to try something new, then you don't order my drink for me. You let me choose what I want. So for a slightly kind of start, I'll keep him at a 3, I think. Not bad. So I like that it continued organically and that we had same interests. But the good intention was there at the start, but I think that would have kind of
fizzled.
It would have kind of put me off a little bit.
Okay. hang on. I just, so when I did this, I had, okay, there it is. Good, good, good. Okay. Swipe. All right. So, okay, okay. All right, so next guy. I forget, am I still sharing screen? Okay, good, I'm not. Because I would have given stuff away. Okay, so, oh, and then I wrote it. All right, this one is gonna be a little bit longer. So
Okay.
One, he asked you what time would you prefer he pick you up? 20 or 30 minutes before the reservation?
No.
After that, you don't
Okay.
actually have to answer. It's not really happening.
Okay.
After that, he gets to your house and there's been an emergency. A kid accidentally threw a baseball through your kitchen window. It's a mess in your kitchen. You open the door just to let him know, you know what, this thing just happened and I have to straighten this out. Maybe we should go ahead and just get rid of the reservations or call off tonight because I have to fix this up. So oh, sorry, I kind of screwed it up. So it was supposed to be that you open the door and that's when the baseball comes through the window. So he hears the sound and he's like, oh my God, what just happened? You go, oh my God, I don't know. So you guys both run into the kitchen. He sees that it's in the kitchen, it's all messed up. There's glass everywhere. And what does he do? Seeing the mess, he makes a call while he's removing his jacket and rolling up his sleeves, and he says, where's your broom? And he's got the phone on the side, where's your broom? And you're like, I don't know, I have to go talk to my neighbor and figure out what happened. So you come back from talking to the neighbor, kid apologized, neighbor's going to pay for the new window, you know, things happen. And you come back to see that he's totally swept up the entire kitchen. It actually looks better than it had already looked before. And he's reinforced that opening in the window with some different, a combination of like different bags. Plastic bag for the outside that's like sticking out from the in, from the out, and like one of those cardboard bags kind of things. He's taped it up so it's going to be sturdy so you don't have to listen to the kind of annoying rustling sound that would happen if you get like a breeze or whatever. And he goes, I hope you don't mind, but I have a couple of friends. He's a real professional. I called him and he's gonna come and fix this whenever you're ready for him to come. Just let me know and I'll let him know. But he already knows about it. It's gonna be on the house, so don't worry about having to pay for anything. So then after that, oh, he says, you know, since we already had to like push off the reservation or everything, I was thinking, what do you want to do? We could like stay here and order in and watch your favorite movie, or we can reschedule or whatever you like, unless you want me to cook you something. What do you choose for him to do?
I'm intrigued by the offer to cook, and I'm curious to see his skills in the kitchen.
Okay, so he goes, well, since I'm gonna cook, obviously, I hope you don't mind, but I kind of need to look in your fridge. Do you think that maybe we should go? I already know some of the dishes that you like, and if you don't mind, I'd like to try and make one of them and surprise you with it. Let's go and get the ingredients and come back. Is that okay? And so you guys go, you get the ingredients, you're shopping together, you come back into the kitchen, he's cooking. He does a pretty good job. It's not great, but it comes out pretty good. And you're impressed that he did all that. And at the end of the meal, he goes, okay, I had a really good time, but I need to clean up and tomorrow there's work again. So he goes into the kitchen while he's saying all that. He cleans up the mess that he made, puts everything away. He kisses you goodnight, he leaves. What do we rate him?
He is a solid 5 out of 5. solid 5 out of 5. Rolls well with change, isn't super dramatic about it, hands-on, getting the job done without having to be asked, and not being intrusive about it. And I love turning this like dinner date into a like kind of arbitrary regular stuff date, because that's the kind of stuff that you do when you get into a relationship and you start living together, is you're doing the shopping together. And so I love the idea of turning it into a, yeah, let's go to the grocery store and shop around date, and then come back and I'm going to cook you stuff, and I'm going to cook you like a legit meal. And no, I don't have to be like amazing. Like, it doesn't have to turn out like, you know, Michelin star quality, but it's still
Right.
good. Yeah, he
have to do Benihana kind of crap. He just has to do it and actually execute it and offer to do it and
yeah,
be thoughtful about it and clean up his shit before he leaves and all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, not being deterred by stressful situations and just being there willing to like put in the effort. Solid 5. He can have like a 6 or 7 out of 5 actually. I'm super into that. I am super into how that night went.
And don't forget, when he gets dressed up for fancy parties, he tends to go with the kind of English, like the old English guy, not old English guy, but the like late Victorian, early Victorian look with like the vest and the pants tucked into the short boots. So there you go. Yeah. I would love that so much. So it used to be all of my dream board of the dream guy. Like he basically looked like a one of the lairds from Downton Abbey during one of those big parties that happened once a year.
As soon as you said rolling up the sleeves, I was imagining the button up with the rolled up sleeves. And that for me is, yes.
The vein is like,
that's,
yes.
That's a look. Yeah, see, this guy in bed, he would do what needed to be done. And he wouldn't complain about it. And that's,
oh my God. I've grown up with Christians. I don't know what to do with this conversation. Okay, it's so funny. All right. So this is our last guy. It's so sad it had to end. And it's all Meshuggah. Where did I put things? Okay. All right. Oh, that's right. I got into this one and then there was notes that circulated back up to the top of the page. So you arrive at the restaurant. Yes, it's the dinner date. You arrive at the restaurant and this guy looks really good. It looks like he has really similar taste. Like he's dressed like a 5-star and he's taking you to a 5-star restaurant. And I have hair in my mouth. So anyways, he goes, "You're here." And he steps forward and he, why did I do that? Oh, to make it uncomfortable. Okay. So he steps forward and he gives you like a 2-handed handshake, like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here." And he leans in. So it's like a little too close. And then he looks like, okay, like, okay, she's not hugging me and doing that whole, okay. So he takes a step back and he made eye contact the entire time. And then he's like, "Oh, this is why I did that. Okay, sorry, scratch that out." So he steps forward, he does the 2-handed handshake, and he does what I call the British hello. This is something that the guy that I dated did that I don't really like that much. But so he does the 2-handed handshake where it allows him to step in. He puts his outer right leg towards your left leg. And he does the air kiss, but he's still making contact with your right cheek and then your left cheek. And, you know, he does that thing where he puts his opposite hand on your back. And to me, that's just like too much information. But so he does the British hello or the New York hello, some weird amalgamation of that. And he says, What does he say next? He goes, okay, let's go in. I got a reservation for us. I'm really excited. It's in a really nice section. It's sort of like a nice cloistered atmosphere. There aren't too many people. There's going to be great lighting. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And he walks in and he gives the maitre d' kind of like a aha kind of look. And the maitre d' makes this big show of being grand. He's like, right this way. And he steps back behind you so that you're falling behind the maitre d', and that gives him an opportunity to, when you guys get to the table, pull out your chair, and he has his hand on like the side of your back while he's doing it and like guiding you into the chair like you don't know what a chair is. I'm sorry. And so your food arrives, and as you start to eat, a wisp of hair somehow almost falls in your food, and he really quickly just goes, oh wait, sorry, good, that almost got in your food. So he's not like making a big show of it. It really is just like, oh yeah, that was about to get in your food, don't worry about it, it's out now. So you're like, okay. So you're eating and you're eating, and you're gonna be so full by the time all this is done. What's the next thing that happens? So the food is fantastic, but something happens. Oh, the food is fantastic, but as you're getting up, another very hallmark thing happens. A waiter is turning around from the opposite table, accidentally bumps into you, and spills water all down your dress or your blouse, whatever it is you're choosing to wear. And oh, it's so much worse. I'm glad that I wrote that. So he doesn't just spill water on you, he spills like this big chocolate pudding thing. It goes all down your arm and splashes across your cheek. So the guy that you're dating, he immediately steps forward and he tells the waiter guy, like, don't worry about it, accidents happen. He immediately is ready with his, what do you call it? Cloth, tablecloth, whatever. He wipes off your arm, and then he takes yours, he dips it into his water so he can make sure your arm doesn't feel sticky when it dries and all that. And he very, very deftly, gently dabs at your cheek. So it hopefully doesn't mess up your makeup. And he says, don't worry, you still look beautiful. He puts it down. He's like, I'm so sorry that things ended that way. And so he says, you know what, I did want to take you somewhere afterwards, but so there's no more surprises. Let's just go ahead, and I'm just gonna have them pull the car around. So rather than him doing the parking, he's had someone park it, obviously. So you're waiting at the pass for the valet to come back, and it starts to drizzle out just a little bit, not like a lot. He takes off his jacket, puts it around your arms. And he takes out this umbrella that you notice is surprisingly pretty, like kind of femininely pretty. And he holds it over your head and he says, a lady should never have to wait in the rain. Would you like to wait back behind the glass doors and I'll stay out here? It's up to you. But then at that moment, the car comes around, and you know, the guy gets out, he opens the doors, and you're about to step in, and he goes, wait 1 second, there's a puddle and you're wearing heels, that would be terrible. Hang on 1 second. He nips inside, and the maitre d' comes out with him, and they have a little okay, they have like a little single step, like for getting to like wine or something, but they put it down in that sort of gutter thing so that you don't have to take a big step to try and get into the car, and you don't necessarily slip into the puddle. And he's holding, you know, he's holding the umbrella over you as you get into the car. You get into the car, he pays the guy a little bit extra for having done that customer service. He drives you back to your house because he's that kind of a guy. And as you get back to the front door, This was much more convoluted than what I just said, by the way, on paper. As you get back to the front door, he says, you were amazing tonight. You kept your cool. I'm sorry that it wasn't quite like how I expected it to be. You deserve better. And I hope that you'll give me the chance to give you an actually beautiful night. And he steps forward and he gives you a kiss on the cheek, but he's sort of like cupping your face. And then he steps back and he, with the umbrella, he goes, this is yours. The forecast said that it was probably gonna rain, so I just bought it for you. I'm sorry it doesn't match your outfit, but I know that you really like that color. And he runs back into his car. He's soaking wet and uncomfortable, but you're dry and you're on your front step, and he drives away. So that's the last guy. What do we rate him at?
I'm not going to diminish that I wanted to make the effort to make things nice. But it was all very high maintenance and still a lot of assumptions about what I would or would not be okay with. And a lot of doing things for me when I could do them myself. I understand the intention behind it. But I don't know how I'd feel about dating someone who it seems is not going to be able to be very adventurous. This is not someone who would take the opportunity when it's raining to say, let's go dance in the rain.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I would want that kind of spontaneity and that kind of adventurous flexibility. And he doesn't sound like the kind of guy who's going to be able to easily offer that.
Oh, I forgot one thing. When he put his jacket around you, he also put his arm around you with not like super tight or trying to touch anything, just to try and warm you up. I totally forgot that. That's actually, believe it or not, that's important. But he did that when he put his jacket around you to try and help you be warm because he assumed you were going to get cold.
See, and I appreciate little things like that. I do. I appreciate, putting the jacket on if you're outside and it's cold and chilly, because I'm cold a lot. So that I appreciate. I appreciate the little things. But I will say that I was friends with a guy like this overseas who at one point had been interested in pursuing things with me and I was not, and yada yada, different story. But I think we were at the beach and I like toe kicked a teeny bit of sand at his leg and he was like, don't do that. Like, we were at
like
the beach.
Actually don't do that, or playfully, oh no, don't do that, like
no, not playfully. And that's how I see kind of this guy being potentially, is that he is not someone I'd be able to like, go to the beach with and splash water on him. I would not be able to go in the water and bring wet hands back and go splish splash at him while he was tanning, because he would be tanning. Yeah. So I'd give him I guess he'd be like a 3.5-ish, because I really don't want to be I don't want to not be generous with his efforts, but I think this would kind of be like a good looking glass into a future relationship with him that would just maybe not allow a lot of room for spontaneous play in the mud fun.
So the one that you liked the least, do you remember which one that was? Would that be this guy, or would that be scenario 2? Wait, would it be scenario 1, the guy who he was like, he texted you afterwards, oh, sorry, I came off a bit cheesy. He texted you before, can't wait to see you. He's like, oh, you look divine when he sees you. That guy that said a lot of stuff, or this last guy? Which one did you feel scored the least?
I think maybe the first one, just because he comes off as being kind of, he comes off being very young, and maybe a little inexperienced, which again, I don't want to hold that against someone. It's not their fault if they, are inexperienced. Like you have to do the dating to be experienced. But I want someone who has their life together a little more. So
it's cool. You want someone who's been around the block. I understand. He wears he doesn't wear like military boots. You want the guy who's got like the tall boots. Okay, so guy 1, here's what this supposedly reveals about you. So all of these were actually scenarios to show love languages, and they were weird and kooky to be a good game. And the very, very first one that was all, oh, you look divine, blah, 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 blah. He has words of affirmation. People with words of affirmation, this is coming from the website mindbodygreen.com. People with words of affirmation as a love language value verbal acknowledgements of affection, including frequent I love yous, compliments, words of appreciation, verbal encouragement, offering frequent digital communication like texting and social media. They love basically the written word. They really do need to hear, and they need to hear it often. That is how they're emotionally gratified. So that was Mr. Number 1. Mm-hmm. So scenario 2. Okay, scenario 2 was acts of, well, I guess technically not. I wish I could rewrite this now because I feel the okay, yes, haha. No, damn it. Okay, all right, so 2, scenario 2 was quality time. So this was the guy, you finished your dinner and you guys went out and you watched a movie. It was the second installment in some series that both of you really like. And you guys wanted to keep talking and laughing. And so you went to all these different coffee shops, wherever you could, so that you could hang out more and talk. And at the end of it, he's like, I wish that I could have heard more about you from you tonight, but it has to end. I got to go to work. And he offered to call you a cab or take you home. That was quality time. So obviously they show that's how people with the quality time language of love show it, is they spend quality time with you. They feel most adored when their partner actively wants to spend time with them and is always down to hang out. They particularly love it when active listening and eye contact happen and there's this full presence, like they're being prioritized over everything else. So one thing that I wish I had done in some of the other stories so you could tell the difference is that this guy put his phone away. You didn't see his phone one time the entire time you guys were together. Like literally.
That would have upped his score.
I should have.
That would have factor in upping his score.
The minute that he saw you coming around the corner, he immediately, he turned off his phone, or not turned it off because there might have been like an important work thing to come up. He put it on vibrate, all the sounds were down. You put it in the back pocket. You literally never saw his phone once the entire time. So he was quality time. Apparently you kind of like that. And here's part of why I think this is sort of a fun thing to do. I was feeling misunderstood by some different people. And I was also thinking, well, how can they understand me? I don't really understand me. I have no idea how I show other people appreciation. So I should figure that out. So that's actually what led me to looking into all this, to try and figure out and identify how my friends actually show their appreciation, their love for me and anybody else. And so it ended up being pretty interesting. And I realized that apparently I surround myself with people that like a lot of the same ones and use a lot of the same ones the most. The truth is no one only communicates in one. And a lot of times you're in situations where you can't just fall back on that, like what you guys are going through. Like maybe if you were the sort of person who was all about communication, even though you guys can text, it's not like what are you going to do? Text them all freaking day long? You can't really do that. So you have to figure out different ways to show people you love people, and that's part of doing it. So the third one was, can you guess, now that you know that it's love languages, what the third one might have been? The guy with the, the cooking and cleaning and the baseball and all that.
It's like actions. It's right. It's action. It's showing up. It's
exactly. It was acts of service. If your love language is acts of service, you value when your partner goes out of their way to make your life easier.
See, I apologize. You say acts of service, and per my previous comments about how all of these men would be in bed.
So
anyway, yes.
Well, you liked number 3. So what else to say? It's things like bringing you soup when you're sick, making your coffee for you in the morning, picking up your dry cleaning for you when you've had a busy day at work. That's how they do that. And that might be how you do that. So let's see. The very last guy, we'll go to the last guy just to make it interesting because I just did this differently than how I planned. The very last guy I made kind of confusing on purpose. Can you guess what his love language was, the very last guy?
I mean, he seems like a little acts of service, but also I don't know, because he's doing some of those acts of service. He's going out of his way. He's not like a combo of all 3, is he?
No. Okay. So we'll go to number 4. Which one was?
He was the very, very fancy date who had the umbrella and the jacket and.
Oh shit! I didn't read one of them. Oh, that's why it went faster. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that last guy was touch. He shows you that he appreciates you by touching you whenever. They say that people who do this a lot of times it's because they didn't get. Everybody needs a certain amount of hugs or kisses when they're babies, and they need a certain amount of that when they're small children. People who didn't get enough of that in their very early lives, like up until 5, will constantly be reaching out, not just to make themselves feel better, but to communicate and also to have a feeling of stability. Like they feel kind of lost if they don't do enough hugging, like constant. So that's why you'll notice, like when you went into the restaurant, he went behind you and he put his hand on the small of your back. He was totally comfortable. This is gonna sound weird, but cleaning you, like, you got dirty or whatever. He was totally comfortable making that right. He didn't feel uncomfortable getting the hair out of your way, and he didn't use it as an opportunity to do some sort of weird sexual or romantic thing. It was just, oh, this just needs to be done. So that's the sort of person who would also, like in the more old school days, if they saw like a little something on your cheek, they would probably go, let me just get that out of the way, right? With like a tissue or something. He would be that person that's like constantly trying to get your hair smooth, like touchy guy. Okay, so the last guy that we'll do for tonight that I thought that I did that apparently I totally glossed over. Or did I do it? Okay, so you're at work, and well, I don't usually do this. This is a thing my mom used to do. Nails. While you're at work, you're going about your business. About 4 hours before, and all these guys, just to make it more confusing, I had pretty much all of them pick you up. About 4 hours before you're supposed to go out with him, someone walks up to you. It looks like they're like a DHL or something, like some sort of delivery person. And they just check with you about your name, and they say, oh yeah, well, I think I already know it's you because one of your coworkers directed me over to you, but this is for you. And he hands you a small box. It's very pretty. It's not like ornate, it's kind of like bubble gummy, as in like it's sparkly, it's got glitter or whatever. You open it and you find out that it's got a mixture of all different types of candy, including some candy that you like. It looks like he chose a box of all different types, like he wasn't sure what you like, but it included a note saying, just so you don't get too hungry waiting for our date. And he drew like a little winky smiley face in pen. So then, where's it to? He arrives at work apparently. Why would he arrive at work? You need time to, all right, he arrives wherever is best to pick you up. And he has a bouquet for you. It's not like big, but it's small, it's really pretty. He has a bouquet for you, and he has a really, really big smile on his face. And he's got an umbrella because it's raining a little bit. Apparently you're in Seattle or Massachusetts, I don't know. And he's like, oh, don't worry about the umbrella. Do you want me to put it in the car, or do you want me to leave it here? I got it for you. I figured it was gonna rain, so I just got you one. And you respond however you respond to that. It doesn't actually matter. So 3, you have a great meal. You go for a walk afterwards. What the hell is that word? Oh, so you have a great meal, and as you go for a walk, you find this violinist. Do you like violins? I forget. Okay. So you find a violinist. They're playing some classical song. It's really beautiful. He sees that you really enjoy it. And so he asks them to play some song. What songs he asks them to play? He asks you after they finish, what's your favorite song? You know, tell them a song that you really like. So you suggest a song, and they're playing it, and he disappears for a second, and he comes back. And he comes back with another street performer that he had noticed that was just around the corner. So you have a violinist, and you have a guitarist, and they're playing this music, and he grabs your hands and he starts dancing with you. And you guys are laughing and you're having a lot of fun. And he's pretty good at dancing, but he's got a big sense of humor. So it kind of becomes goofy after a couple of minutes, but you're both having a lot of fun. And then he asks you, what's your favorite slow song? And you tell him what your favorite slow song is, and he does the whole may I have this dance thing. And you guys like have 2 minutes of this slow dance, but you know, you're not gonna like do more than that. And he sees that you're no longer interested in doing this, and he says, I know, I guess that was kind of cheesy. And he turns to them and he says, thanks guys, we really appreciate it. You're really great. And you know, he gives both of them a little bit of money because they're street performers. And as he drops you off at the door, yeah, that became the other one. As he drops you off at the door, he has a long stem rose, and he says, I really hope that you like roses. I can't wait to spend more time with you and find out all the things that you really love. And he leaves. He doesn't try to like get a kiss or whatever. He likes you and he leaves. Can you guess what form of what love language that is, and also what do you rate him?
I haven't looked at like love languages enough to ascertain exactly what his is. I will say at the start there, I was like, like, yes, cute that you're sending me candy, but everything's very general, nothing very specific. It's the same kind of thing you could do for anyone on any date. Like there was didn't really seem to be a lot of like thought specifically toward me. But again, that spontaneity, I like that. I 100% was trying not to look super excited when you were talking about him like pulling them in and like dancing and goofy dancing and then like slow dancing out in public. And I can imagine like all the street lamps and yes, people do that.
They do that. I've seen that. I haven't experienced that, but I've seen it.
That would make my heart melt right there. So he can have like a solid. He can have like a 4. He can almost get up to a 4.5 because he is tipping people. Do that too, people. You tip people, because respect.
Especially street performers.
Yeah, and tip people who you're supposed to tip. There's a lot of people you're supposed to tip. Look into it and tip people accordingly. So yeah, I could give him like a solid 4. He had a little bit of cheese, and I appreciate a little bit of cheese. I appreciate the ability to goof and to cheese a little bit. And I appreciate that he's like, I want to know more about you. But where everyone else seemed to kind of have an idea of how to tailor things specifically toward me, he was very general, like he didn't do his homework. So that's definitely going to dock him some points. So yeah, he'll stick around a 4.
Stick around a 4. So that guy, that last guy of the night was let's see, gifts. Gifts is a pretty straightforward love language. You feel loved when people give you visual symbols of love, as Chapman calls it. It's not about the monetary value, but the symbolic thought behind the item. People with this style recognize and value the gift-giving process, the careful reflection, which upon my reflection, I realized I showed better in the other people and not so much this guy. But the careful reflection, and so just so I can stick up for this fake person a little bit better. He had an idea of what candies you might like based on the one he knew that you did like. So there was a whole bunch of candies in that box. That's why one happened to be the type that you like and the rest of them weren't, because he didn't want to come off like, oh, I'm stalking you, therefore I know all the food you eat. And he also didn't come off like, oh, I'm so full of myself that I know all the candies that you're gonna like. So instead, he left some room for not being too over the top like some of the other guys were. And he purposely got a box that was like mixed, but he already knew there was one, what do they call it, clutch in there. There's one thing that you were definitely gonna like. Roses, pretty much everybody likes roses, but he gave you a one long stem rose at the end of the night because it shows that he put in the thought, and he must have had it in a special container the entire night, in the car, in a cool place, probably like in a cooler, so that it wouldn't be all wilted by the end of dropping you off. Versus just giving it to you at the top. It's like, okay, you take care of that. whereas the bouquet was small, and it was really just to show this is the beginning of something. It doesn't have to be over the top. I don't want to creep her out with some giant, like 24 roses. So it's a small, sweet bouquet, just showing like a gesture for this first date. So it comes off as like he doesn't know you because the other guys knew, oh, this is her favorite meal. This is her style of cuisine. It's just he hasn't gotten too much of a chance to know everything yet. And he doesn't want to be that person who's super forward and just assumes that he knows everything about you. He probably steered you down that street where the violinist was because he knew the proximity to the guitarist. So he didn't start off with both of them there. He went to the violinist and he went, she's digging it. And he brought the guitarist over. So,
which shows some observational skills, and that's a good thing.
Napoleon.
So again, he's got that like 4 out of 5 rating. I just, you
like service. You like service, man.
I need me a man who's gonna know how to take care of his house, my house. And for me, that man was a man who knows how to take care of business. And that's what I need. That's what I like. As a man that I don't have to treat like a child.
Yeah, you don't have to train him.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to this, the top way that then you would show love is the same exact way. The way that you rated each of these people is exactly how you most probably communicate to others. So the idea is that then you can look at it and you can see in your life, how often do I actually do any of this stuff? How often do I do acts of service for people, doing research for someone, or whatever, putting together like fundraisers, or there's lots of ways to do service, or do you do like sporadic gifts out of the blue? It doesn't have to do with an anniversary or someone's birthday. Like, so the idea is that you can look at it and you can learn a little bit more about yourself, and according to them, exactly the way that you rated those pretend dates is exactly how you show other people. So you would be first providing service for the people that you love. Second was the quality time and blah, 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 blah down there, and not so much constantly telling them, I love you. Like, maybe you don't do that all the time.
Oh, see, I used to be that person. All my friends' parents, it was, I love you. You're all my other moms and dads, and you know, I love you all as friends, and wink, we'll all be more than friends. Wink, but in like a joking way. Wink, but actually joking. Yeah, definitely used to be a lot more like that. But I think definitely acts of service is how I express it to friends, family, like all my people, my husband, like
people.
All your people. All my peeps get my acts of service. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll say they, as you said before, with everyone's got like kind of a mix and no one's got just one. Like there's definitely aspects from each, but I can see the validity in some of the ranking, and how I ranked it.
Yeah, so interesting. Well, also interesting is how much longer that was than what I expected.
Yes. My speaking of my hubby, he is calling me for the second time. I'm
sorry. Like, they were short. They were 1 page each. And
but we got chatty. I got chatty. So alrighty.
Okay, thank you, my fellow INF friend, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Not tuning in, but like providing the service.
Acts of service.
Acts of service. Yeah, that's pretty much what I learned about myself from this, is that I go way overboard the acts of service for like anyone. And yeah, I do a lot of that. I virtually don't do like 3 out of the 5. So they also say that like if you can use this for any relationship you're in, so you can show people you appreciate them more. I'm like, ugh. I'm gonna have to send people boxes of candy or tell them, like, I don't know. But anyways, thank you everybody for coming. This is Judy Awakened. If you enjoyed this, there's plenty of other videos, and I might do one of these in the future. I'll be better at it then, so it'll be slightly shorter. And thanks for coming. Thank you, Bedelia.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
And
stop.
I love you.
Aw, you too.